Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's up?
What's up, man? Hey, everybody, this is Evan Layton with H-Town Happy Hour.
Derek Diaz-Levy, H-Town Happy Hour, #1 podcast in the world, baby.
#1 podcast in the world, bro. Let them know. And we have a very special guest for you today. We have...
Chef David Guerrero and Ande's Cafe, the Ceviche King.
Yeah, the Ceviche King.
I like
Chopping
that.
it up, getting them right.
That. So, wait, why are you the king of ceviche, bro?
Well, actually, a couple of years ago, Historia magazine threw me that nickname,
Wow.
threw me a recipe. I have to throw a recipe.
So you were anointed with this name.
Yeah, well, we'll have, since we opened Ande's Cafe in 2013, we're about to do 10 years this December. And actually, before that, a couple of years after I opened the restaurant, we used to feed the homeless in East Downtown.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's why I tell the story to Catherine Shaw, because, the homeless used to throw me the name Ceviche King, because I used to get my 2004 Jeep Liberty and get a ceviche and throw it to these guys. And like some of them like, what the hell is this? They were expecting something more, fulfilling. But I said, well, this is what I like to do.
You're like, I'm handing out luxurious cuisine, guys. Yeah. Here's some chips and a fresh shrimp ceviche.
Yeah, it was fun. I used to jump into that, because if you go to the underneath the bridge, it's like a homeless camp, though. Go inside there and just talk to it was fun until I knew that it was kind of illegal. In the city of Houston.
They ticket people a lot nowadays for that, which is crazy in its own. But where does this ceviche come from? Why do you make ceviche? Tell us about it.
Well, I come from a country that is it's starting getting popular about our own style of ceviche, but ceviche is all over Latin America, Mexico, Central America. But the number one country is well known and makes a name of it from our ceviche is gonna be Peru.
Yeah. Peru has they're more famous for their ceviche
style, of course, because a lot of chefs. It was a whole wave of gastronomic wave in South America, especially in Peru. They became like very famous when it comes to ceviche. So when I used to live in New Jersey, when I moved from Ecuador to the States, I thought I moved to Peru, though. It was a lot of Peruvian restaurants. A lot of Peruvian restaurants.
He goes, am I back home? Am I at home right now?
And that's what first time I tried Peruvian style ceviche, and it was amazing, though. It's almost like it's not cooked all the way, in lime juice like a lot of people think. It's a little more like almost like a sushi with a little silky milk.
Got you. So whenever you tasted this ceviche first, was your first thoughts, wow, this is good, or was your first thoughts, I can do better? I can beat that.
Since the number one, I try ceviche. It's my number favorite dish to eat.
Gotcha.
I'm addicted to it. So
Let me tell you, bro. I've eaten your ceviche so much in a week period that I started to get like sore in my mouth because so much lime and citrus. I just ate it like 3 or 4 days in a row one time. So I understand.
I remember that. So it's very addictive. Actually, believe me or not, it does cure hangover, though.
Yeah, really. It's a cure for hangovers.
And that's like for fact. I remember one time. One of my first restaurants that I opened here in Houston back in 2013. It was the first ceviche bar in Houston. Of course, I opened 5 restaurants.
You've opened 5 restaurants?
I closed down 5 restaurants. I filled 5 restaurants, and now I have 2.
Hey, beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Well, that's a common theme that we actually talk about on the show, and so I'm glad you brought that up, which is, we will build our empire upon... How does it go? We'll build our empire on failure after failure.
Failure way to the top, man. Keep stacking L's until you get all the W's.
Until you become king ceviche.
So it's Ande's Cafe, right?
Yeah, Ande's Cafe.
That's kind of the flagship.
We have that restaurant. No, well, actually, the what I was telling you, the first ceviche bar was in 2013. Yeah. And I used to, like a day off, I coming in to the ceviche bar, asked the ceviche girls, the lady, she does the ceviche, says, give me 2 ceviches because I have hangover. So I know for a fact that it really does cure, though, because the spiciness, the acidity, all that kind of stuff is, it's really good,
Yeah. So
I shake you up and wake you up.
So what is one of the big separators or differentiators from your ceviche that makes it like that unique selling point?
Well, I get to travel to Lima, Peru around 50 times. I live in Peru for 9 months. I work in one of the best, back in 2016, the best food restaurant in the world called Mairo. So I learned a lot of techniques from a lot of different chefs. So And every time I go and try a Peruvian style ceviche, I have to try it. And, I believe mine is pretty good, pretty solid,
And also, I totally understand. A chef can't tell us all their secrets. All right, I'm just prying for information.
You know, our ceviche is very complex. I believe it's the number one seller, and it has so many tricks, and it seems very simple, to eat and whatever. You think like you just put lime, salt, and
But it's not just that, is it?
and it's like every single item and the dish, it has a technique and it has a secret. Let's say that, and every time you're trying to just get better and better and better,
Yeah.
So until you get like, okay, this is really good. So I'm the worst critic, of myself. So when I make my ceviche and if I really like it, it's like wow, it has to be amazing because anything I prep myself, I will never eat it. But I would say 2 weeks ago, I made one ceviche and it was.
It was
Really,
it was the bomb.
Yeah, it was a bomb. Yeah, it was really, really good.
He said I have to go against my normal code, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what got you into cooking, man? Like what got you into? How did you come up with? Hey, I'm gonna start my own restaurant.
Well, that started like when I was, a teenager. Of course, my mom and like every other mom wants the kids to be something like,
Right.
big, like doctors, lawyers,
Firefighter,
No,
Neurosurgeon.
Neurosurgeon,
maybe
like
an
my brother.
architect.
Yeah, of course, But I was the black sheep of my family, and I wanted to be, something different. I was really into arts, painting and things like that, and I didn't like to study. I guess, I don't like to read books.
He said I like to work with my hands, Ma.
No, of
Come
course.
on.
So but that was started when I was very little. So my mom was telling me when I grew up in the family, they used to have restaurants before, especially from my mom's side. My grandma used to be cooking 24/7.
Grandma was always in the
Yeah.
kitchen.
24/7. I grew up with her. It's not that my mom abandoned us or anything like that, but she used to work a lot of hours. So
Yeah.
we used to have a nanny, but my grandma used to live with us. So I can't help it. So I was
It's just kind of in your blood.
yeah, and for like every single Christmas or any type of like holidays, a big event, it was a huge festive, like
Yeah.
around this table,
Yeah.
food all over the place.
They could
and-
probably feel
Yeah.
end world hunger.
Well, they came from a big, large family, so a lot of cousins, uncles, aunts, and
Yeah.
of course, a lot of food. So my grandma used to be an amazing cook, and all her sisters, had restaurants. Two of them in specialty. They have two restaurants.
So, if anything, you kind of stayed on the family path.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, my grandma is just she was like I said, in the kitchen, 24/7, and I think I get it from that side, and because I was so attached to her, and she was all the times in the kitchen. I was trying to always figure out a way to stay in the kitchen. So my mom says that I used to put a chair down and just jump into the chair and start acting like I'm washing dishes. When I was 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, she also another story told me that one day I put myself inside the oven. Thanks God, it was nothing. It was the whole.
That could be scary for a parent.
I know, but I was very wild and. Well, I grew up, I just decided I told my mom I wanted to be a chef. That's it.
Yeah.
Then of course we have to immigrate right after that, and it was tough. And so we came to this country, and 5 years later, my parents decided to go back to Ecuador.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I have to immigrate back again.
So whenever y'all first were immigrating over here, did you have a goal in mind of like you wanted to do something with the dream of starting a business?
No.
No.
No, not at all. I mean, it was a scary situation. It was tough because I was 18 already. I had a girlfriend. I have to tell a girlfriend, hey, I'll be back in 3 months. I didn't come back 15 years later, which was a big difference.
Hey, stay right here. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And never
so
come back.
I didn't know anything about what was immigrate to a different country. I was kind of like forced, let's say that word.
Yeah.
Because I was overage, but I was be part of my family, so I choose to come here with my mom, my dad, my brothers.
Yeah.
That's it. And then when they say because immigration status, my middle brother, he wants to be a doctor, and it would be so hard for him to be a doctor with a status like legal status. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
so I'm very proud of him. He actually was working. He was in senior high school, and he was, he used to work cleaning a barber shop. And he saved some money and he buy his flight ticket by himself. He said, "I'm out of here." Wow. So because he wants to be a doctor. Yeah. And that's how everything started.
You know what that kind of reminded me of, and it kind of sounds like a theme that's gone on for even like with your restaurants. It comes down to how bad do you want it, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about your brother over here saving up, working at a barbershop, cleaning up hair, saving up money to get a ticket to make it happen. And you're talking about the times that you've had of continuing your success in the restaurant world. It just comes back to how bad do you really want it?
Yeah, of course, and like my brother, like 15 years later, like he's an amazing neurosurgeon, so things pay off.
Saving lives.
Yeah. Saving lives for sure.
It's kind of crazy, bro. It's like the definition of the American dream, bro. Like you came over here, you immigrated over here, and then your family went back to Ecuador, and you kind of say, "Hey, I'm gonna stick around here and see if I can't start my own business." And how long were you a chef and cooking and stuff before you kind of took the path to open your own restaurant?
I finished culinary school when I was 23, and then it took me like 4 years, like working doubles, sometimes three jobs to save up some money. And I found an angel on my path who actually ended up give me his share for free because he moved to Alaska. He says it's okay when you're rich, you pay me back. Yeah, so it was kind of an angel. Yeah, he invested on me. Yeah, of course I would never forget him.
Yeah,
beautiful. And so that was the first one that was legit. My first. I mean, I have many intent in the past to have a restaurant, but for you have to meet up with like bad people. They're just trying to use you. They tell you like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you this restaurant, blah blah." Not have anything signed. So, let's say since 2000, when I was 27, I had my first restaurant, but it fails, and then I opened Ande's Cafe. With this knocking, I used to have a little business plan in this little folder, with like pictures of me being in magazines and blah blah blah, and that's it. And every single person, I promise you, I used to take this little file with me. I said, "Would you like to take a look at my business plan?" Any random person. And this is very funny. I took this file to a salsa club.
Yeah.
I used to love salsa dancing, right?
Okay.
So I was on the table, and any person that's like, and I knew this guy. He's a Vietnamese guy. I knew he has some cash flow, whatever. Yeah. And I approached him. I said, "Oh yeah, let me look it up." So we met up next day, and he never tried my food though. Never. He never get to try my food or anything. He did open my file. He didn't even see the numbers. He just see like back in 2012 and 13. I was like 2012. I was very popular chef here in Houston because I used to jump into a lot of competitions and stuff like that. So I was.
You were active in the community.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I was doing a lot of press release and stuff like that. And there was a company that used to work. They had a PR company that helped me out a lot tremendously. So, and so going back to the conversation, this guy, all he did was look at the paper and said, "Okay, let's do it."
Let's do it.
And that's it. That's how everything started.
That's a nod to you though, bro. If you think about it, like it's like you were saying, I would just show it to anyone that was willing to listen. Like I would carry my business plan around with me. Like that right there is probably what sold him more than anything. Like him seeing you just putting yourself out there and like you like literally just talking to anyone that can listen. Like that right there is probably a big part of it, bro. Like people see that, and it means something. Like
it's that commitment to yourself.
Right.
But the number one challenge was, first of all, back then I didn't have papers though. I was like, it was very tough. So finally, definitely I find this angel who helped me out structure the legal company and everything. And just there you go. I think. I couldn't make it without him though, so it's a big.
So whenever Andy's Cafe happened, did you do the similar thing where you were walking around with your business plan for it?
No, that was
for this.
Yeah, so
beautiful.
So for the first restaurant, it fails because it was so busy though.
Yeah.
You know, there was a big food critic here in Houston. Her name is Alison Cook.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, there was probably only 10 restaurants that held 4 stars in the whole Houston.
Yeah.
And I was one of them.
Wow.
So because we have I have a really bad partnership. You know, I didn't know anything better. I was like, you know, I didn't know anything. I just knew how to cook. That's it. But I didn't know anything about numbers, run the house, all that stuff. So
which is just as important. It's just as important to know the back end of the business, the numbers, profit margins, like supply, all that stuff is just as important as being the artist, the chef.
Yeah, it took me like probably like around 8 years to just kind of like, okay, now I'm like very comfortable with that, you know, and it's still kind of learning, and it's still, you know, restaurants number it's very tough to be succeed. So
when did you know you had something special with the restaurant world?
We Ande's Cafe.
Yeah,
Ande's Cafe. Like I say, we're about to be 10 years though. So
that's a decade, bro.
Yeah, decade.
Crazy.
For me, I would say like I call it's like an institution here in Houston. So Houston needs Ande's Cafe to be part of the restaurant business. You know?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I know a lot of chefs, good colleagues. They have like, you know, restaurants for many years. Like Hugo Ortega has Hugo's, Backstreet Cafe. You know. So he has an institution like with Mexican cuisine. I'm doing the same thing with my cuisine. Like
and your cuisine, you were saying it encompasses. It's multiple countries, right?
Yeah, it represents every single country is attached to the Andes Mountains. That's why I call them Andes Cafe.
Wow, I like that.
So it started from Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. Yeah. Which, by the way, in 2017, I got the blessing to travel to all these countries and stay there for at least a month to try the food, you know, the people, the culture. And that's extremely important because when I first opened my restaurant in 2014, I remember that one of my best friends from Chile, he says, you know, with a Chilean accent, he says, ¿Qué tú sabes de comida chilena, culiado, huevón? Which means, like, how the fuck you know about Chilean food, you know? So that get in my mind, like, really, really hard.
Yeah.
So for a whole year, I saved up every single penny.
Yeah.
I didn't go out at all, you know, save. And, you know, as soon as I get my paper, though, I went crazy though. I stayed there for like, you know, multiple months, you know.
And then that's exactly how you knew about the Italian food. It's
exactly.
Because you indulged in their culture and you went and experienced it.
I went there. I talked to people. I used to go to the markets and literally like a crazy guy, random guy, approached to any person, say, hey, here I'm chef from the United States and I own this restaurant that represent, you know, your country, and I would like to see if I can actually buy some food and you invite me to your house.
Wow.
There's some countries that it was no problem. Of course, you know, back then Venezuela was one of the crazy tough countries. I didn't do it. I did in Bolivia, I did in Argentina, I did in Chile, and Peru, of course, you know, in Ecuador I had my own family, but and I did in Colombia as well. It was amazing though. So, you know, you go to their houses and talk to them and their families and the culture.
Find out like ancient secrets about what makes their food
it's just,
unique.
Of course, it was amazing. Yeah, it was a unique experience. I don't think I would never be able to do it again, though.
All right.
Well, and also there was a time for you to do that because it was a time for you to study, research, and really dive in to what the palate was for these specific countries.
Research and development.
Right.
I was blessed that I have, you know, my family come over and taking care of my restaurant while I was going. I have a pretty strong team that, you know, helped me out. I was like, you know.
Yeah. What sort of team do you have around you?
Well, right now it's very tough, you know. After all my guys pretty much gone. I mean, after the pandemic, it's different though. Yeah. It's really hard to find. I mean, I put good things in a lot of people, but you know, being a cook, professional cook, want to be a chef is like very difficult. I don't think a lot of people wants to do that anymore. You know,
it's long hours and it's hot and you're on that chef line. It's not easy. Like a lot of people don't understand.
Not everyone wants to be on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and make money. And that's it. You know.
Hey,
come on now, hey David, hey, H-Town, baby.
No, I'm talking about like
that's the other thing too. Is a business you have to be. Like you can't not be nowadays.
It's almost impossible to get out of the whirlwind of technology. It's like if you're not up to date with it, you just get left behind.
Right. I mean,
And it's
you're,
hard.
You're doing yourself a disservice. I mean, y'all are strong on Instagram. Y'all are strong on TikTok, even, bro. Like, I know your brother helps you a little bit with the TikTok too, and even him like hustling it on TikTok. I was like, man, we need to step up our TikTok game. So like,
I had somebody tell me about they saw the market on TikTok.
Dope. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do. It's crazy. Like, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a business owner and you're not utilizing these different platforms, because it's one, it can be free advertising, it's free marketing, and two, like, you can also use the paid side of it. Like, the paid side of it is even more effective than the free side, and it kind of counterbalances each other.
Yeah. No, I know. Of course, I understand. Like, it's not. I'm very old school chef. I understand.
Yeah.
I have to understand that marketing is extremely important. Like, you have to put
Now I haven't worked in the restaurant with you, but I hear most of the time most chefs have kind of like a short temper.
Yeah.
Is that true for you in the chef's world, or are you kind of like the angel?
No. I used to be like super top, and one of my mentors, they were like the toughest chef I ever worked in my life. I used to actually, before my parents go back to our country, I used to just finish work, and 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I used to live in a very small apartment. My brothers, my mom, my dad, and I turned the lights off on the kitchen, and I was just acting up, like playing with pads and calling orders in, because he was like very tough though, like, but he's my mentor, like he's like
supposed to be on you.
It's almost like I would say it almost like a military, education, like Marines, like all you have to say is chef.
It's that intense with the chefs.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I lived that, and I was blessed and lucky that I lived that era. Now these days a lot of chefs are like very, because. Well, I was telling you at the beginning, like, a lot of people, they have this entitlement, like, I don't work harder because, it's still different era, whatever. But, my time was like, man.
Yeah.
I have so many stories, like.
It's tough.
Yeah, very tough. But that's what it makes me, it makes me be like that. Of course, being Hispanic kind of changed my motivation to be, and losing a lot of employees and being this asshole. You just want to be the same person. You're not going nowhere.
Yeah, there you go. That's a smart way to think.
So when I opened my last restaurant, my Cuna, I didn't care about anyone. It's like being an asshole, whatever. And then I say, well, when I need them, they will answer the phone. But then I start calling everyone, all my guys. No one answers.
Yeah,
it means like no one wants to work with me anymore. Again, so. That it was a wake-up call for me. So
a nice reality check.
Yeah, I have to just change. I hug my guys, especially ladies. People who work with me, they're very loyal. Hug them. I say thank you. Even it's just a little thing. How was your weekend? Stuff like that, and it makes difference for them.
A saying I tell my team a lot, like, you get a lot further with honey over vinegar.
Yeah,
and you get a lot further with honey instead of vinegar. Like, there's times to be firm, and there's times to kind of like be firm and be like serious, but also like you gotta realize no one wants to be around like someone that's just mad and grumpy all the time, right?
No, of course, yeah.
So and you know what I'm saying, it I think that goes for any field. You've got to know when to turn it on and turn it off, right?
No, I'm more relaxed. I'm kind of to be hands off the kitchen now, because I'm very particular, and I'm very perfectionist. So it's very tough to work with me, to be honest.
That's good.
But like people who stick around, I love to teach them. I like to promote them.
And also, you don't want to teach a bunch of people that aren't going to stick around either.
Yeah, but that's tough though, because it's just like, well, like statistically, we're talking about like each employee that you train, if they're gone, you're losing like $17,000 for each person.
For all the training and
training.
Which that's a whole nother aspect of business that a lot of people don't even understand, man. Hiring and managing staff is not easy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, hiring staff can be very hard, whether it's just contractual work or salary work or hourly work. Like, you never really know. People put on these amazing fronts and stuff in the application process and in the interview process, like people can put on this amazing front, and then when you're in the trenches with them is when you kind of really see who someone is. And I've hired people myself, and you know, they were perfect on paper, they were perfect in the interview, and then in a week in, they're like raising hell about something that is just like has nothing to do with them. Like it's crazy. It's a crazy aspect of business that a lot of people don't really understand or know about.
Yeah, that's why me personally, I make him to do a stage. Well, it's a process, like, you know, it's not corporate, but you know, like I make him to do like 3 dishes in 1 hour first of all, and then after that they have to stage, like, you know, like that's a very common term to use in the kitchen. Like, you know, pretty much you work there for 4 hours, see if you like it, if you don't like it. You know, if they like it, they stick around. But most of the people, they don't like it, you know, because they see the reality on the kitchen. You know, it's no.
So I guess, you know, with some of that, I mean, is that some of, you know, would that be some of the struggles that you deal with? Would be retainment of people, like keeping the people there?
Yeah, I mean, it's many factors. Right now, for example, we're looking in downtown Houston. You know, we're in a place that if you work in downtown Houston, you know for a fact that for sure you have to pay parking. People don't want to pay for anything. You know, they just want to have the check and that's it. You know, I'm the one who's paying for their parking and stuff like that. And when they find out they have to pay Saturday and Sunday, they have to pay, you know, which the city of Houston doesn't collaborate, like, you know, super tough under the bridge, so expensive. So it's very, very challenging for a small company like us to just cover all the expenses so people can stay. You know, it's difficult though. And then on top of that, you know, they want their own schedule. You know, they just want to do whatever they want. So it's difficult at these times to run a restaurant business. And it's not just me. A lot of colleagues and a lot of people always ask me, hey, do you know anyone who wants to work? It's very hard to maintain people though.
So that's kind of a common theme.
Yeah.
In all restaurants is what you're saying.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, and not just restaurants though. Like that, the people don't want to work nowadays. Like especially
like I said,
you're talking about after
pandemic.
COVID and stuff. Like people don't want to work, and they want to get paid more to work less. It's crazy. Like that is literally what people are looking for. I want to work less and get paid more.
That's what I was referring about the social media. You know, some people they just want to do open, you know, whatever. And
yeah, but I feel like the people that are just doing that and pursuing social media and stuff, like they're not gonna make it.
Of course not.
That's just like a pipe dream for them, bro, because it takes just as much work to build that audience on social media. It's a grind of its own. It's like the people that are glorifying like, oh, I just want to be an influencer. I just want to,
But they want to have no backing behind their influence.
Right. And they're not going to make it. Like it's a lot of work to build an audience. It's a lot of work to retain an audience. It's a lot of work to take your audience and convert it into like monetization, like whether it's trying to get your audience to buy a product, whether it's trying to get your audience to come to your restaurant, you know what I mean? Like just having a bunch of followers on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook doesn't equate to success, right? You have to monetize that audience, which is a whole different beast of its own. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. I mean, looking into that, and like, you know, so much work.
Yeah,
I'm out of there. Yeah, of course. Because
It's like as soon as you get done doing the work, what you come to find out is there's more work to be done.
Yeah.
Every time.
right.
There's another things I'm pursuing right now besides being a chef. You know, like, you know, selling things in Amazon. Also, I open my own line of jewelry, which is kind of like funny.
Hey.
Tell us about your jewelry.
Talk about the jewelry, David.
Jewelry, bro.
So last trip I went to Ecuador last year. It was I met this lady. I always wanted to have this little red bracelets. I didn't have it with me because I was working.
And he didn't bring us empanadas or ceviche.
Well, that was Derek's fault. He didn't tell me anything.
Hey, come on, Derek.
No, we just wanted your mind, bro. We just wanted to talk to you. It's all good. Don't sweat it.
So this lady back in a little town called Otavalo, you know, and she's like, it was a huge connection because, you know, it's a thing that they only have it, you know. It's like kind of like culture thing, right? The indigenous thing. So I asked her for fun, like, said, would you willing to sell me one of those bracelets? It costs like around $400 though, because they make out of coral, very expensive thing. And she went down there and she actually said, yeah, I will sell it for you. And he cut it in half and she billed me two. And I didn't even realize what kind of shop I was walking into, right? Because I was just looking into her hands. And that was a thing that is called Tawa, which is like a vegetable ivory.
Is a what?
A vegetable ivory. It's a little. My collection is make up sustainable jewelry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know.
You said vegetable ivory.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you know, most of the people they get ivory from the elephants.
Which
you
is
know,
like illegal nowadays.
It's illegal, of course, and that's why my thing is it has a purpose. You know, besides being helping elephants to survive longer. When I get deep into this whole new dream and goal, at the beginning I told like, you know what, I'm just gonna spend $2,000 and I'm just gonna go back to the States and trying to make an extra class, right? But then this whole thing started like getting like super deep, like and I'm into like so much investment right now, like, but I want it to be big. So starting next month, we actually going live.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, bro. Like you over here, you have your successful restaurant. You have 2 successful restaurants right now, and now you're branching off too, and kind of bringing you're bringing your culture all to the States, which is one great for the people of Houston. Like Houston is a great spot to do that because it's very culturally diverse in of its own. But you're also bringing something to the table that isn't like saturated here in Houston. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing Ecuadorian food, you're bringing all kind of Latin American food, as well as now you're branching off into jewelry. Like I think you've got a good niche here, bro. That is, you just keep on keeping on, bro. And respect to you for the hustle, the grind. Like that's.
Man, totally. I mean, it makes hard because I'm a guy, and it's just it would be easier if I go like have girlfriends that willing to I don't have
You're good.
sorry, this is straight up for make a necklace and rings and earrings and all that stuff for women's, right? And but I love the challenge and I take it and I accept it though because I grew up with I grew up with my mom, my grandma, my 2 aunts, five cousins though. So I have a lot of girls in my life. Being a young adult. So
well, and I mean, technically, there's nothing wrong with that. You understand that women are also consumers.
No, of course.
And women also buy things.
Yeah.
And so getting into an industry where women purchase things, not a bad idea.
And I mean, men wear jewelry too. Look at your wrist. I mean, all of us got jewelry on.
We all got something, man. I mean, stuff.
So I mean,
it's good. Later I'm working with a men's collection, something like that.
nice.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I love it. It's just it's a lot of work though. It's a different thing that I'm been learning everything by myself. It's like, I mean, it makes it easy because I kind of like know how to run, and I run this business as almost as a restaurant though.
Yeah.
Like be on time.
Screaming at your employees, get the jewelry out.
No.
David, the jewelry's right here. Sell it all.
So if y'all didn't know, like, first off, Andy's Cafe, their restaurants at Post Houston, and then too, like his business, his jewelry's business is he's a vendor at our market. So if y'all want to see some of the amazing jewelry he has, or if you want to try some of this amazing food, November 11th is the next H-Town market.
November 11th.
November 11th, number 1 market in the world. If you didn't know.
It is. It actually is.
And David's gonna be there.
And we've created an ecosystem of success where the diverse entrepreneurial spirit of the city has been able to flourish.
Right. And, thousands of shoppers. Like, we have a lot of cool, interesting vendors there. And y'all come check out some of his jewelry next time.
Yes, guys. Thank you.
Shameless plug. You know what I'm saying?
So what are some of the, so we know that, with some of the retainment, like keeping people around, how hard does that affect the business? Being able to keep people around and some of the issues with the pandemic, how hard is that to maintain business with all these issues?
Well, when I started off Ande's Cafe in East Downtown, it was a struggle. It was only 3 people,
Yep.
myself and 2 more guys. I used to have this little bell on the door. Someone opened the door. I was just used to running, take the orders, be a host first. Be a host.
Yep.
Sit down whatever you like. Take the order. So I became be a waiter, and then go running on the back. I start prepping the thing.
Bring them the water with the lemons.
Be an ambassador. I was just doing like five things. I think that's why I believe God and energy. It's just say this restaurant. for you, man.
Yeah.
Because I put so much effort, so many years of my life through one surgery, brain surgery. I have to shut it down twice, the restaurant, because of first of all, the pandemic. I know it was actually they sold the property.
Yep.
So I have to move out, and then the pandemic when it didn't work. But it took me like a 9 months break, and then finally we have ended up reopening the Pulse. But what makes our job very difficult is like even if we're in the third, I believe fourth largest city in the United States.
Yeah.
And I know you said it's very culturally diverse, but it's still struggling because when it comes to our food, they think it's like Mexican food, and I love Mexico and my Mexican pals.
But they try to group your food together in the Mexican food, and it's not Mexican food, is it?
Of course not. And then they have to understand that we have to export a lot of ingredients from South America to make very authentic. So everything export or import is expensive. So.
And most people don't understand that aspect of the business world.
I mean, that's the thing, dude. It's the first ceviche bar in Houston. Like that's an accomplishment of its own.
It is.
Ceviche is incredible.
It's still kind of like it's a struggle of like because it's different and it's unique. Yeah. And I always wanted to do something. There's me personally as a chef. I would never do anything like. I mean, I'm kind of bending my rules because I'm starting throwing a little Mexican, and actually a new ceviche bar is coming up in the next 2 weeks because we're gonna do something more.
Is it called King Ceviche Bar?
No.
I like the name though. I like the name.
I like it too. I mean, we approach we very fine dining approach for ceviche, and I think for some people it's very very nice, very interesting, but mostly people it's kind of like the price is expensive, so.
Well, and also whenever people buy, they want to buy an experience.
Yes.
They want to buy the experience. They want to buy they want the authentic ingredients. They want that. And I mean,
where I'm at right now is I think it's all about volume. So that's why the experience it has to take and I have to twist a little bit.
Right. You have to find the happy medium, the balance between pumping out volume and still creating that experience and authentic cuisine.
And I think I already found it because I don't think no one's willing to pay $28, $30 for a ceviche, because I'm using fresh product. Yeah. And that's the big difference,
Yeah.
So I'm still using fresh product, but I have to go through a different type of protein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of twitching a little bit, make a little more.
It's just putting your own spin on it and being able to make adjustments as the market moves.
And the reservation type of thing, I don't think it's not happening anymore because it's just. When you put a reservation in your mind, where you think like fine dining restaurant, like you're expecting like something like tablecloth and blah 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 and stuff like that.
Waiters to come out with wine and white cloths over their hand, stuff
yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
Or like in Ecuador at your brother's wedding, they serve the food like drill sergeant style, all in uniform, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in fine dining anymore. Like profit margin is very little, and so much hassle. Is like. So.
And also, I think more people would be likely to complain in fine dining too. Especially because if they're like, my dinner wasn't 100% right, I demand service. I feel like sometimes maybe in those fine dining arenas, it's a little bit people are a little bit more unstable with their emotions.
Yeah,
I got a funny story that the way we kind of met you. Was we used to just go to Andy's Cafe over at your spot in East downtown over on that side. We used to just go for lunch and stuff, and then we would just go for lunch in between work, and we'd go with Kirby. Kirby put us onto it, and then one day he was just like, "Man, I'm gonna get them to be attending at Post." And we were like, "All right, cool." He was like, "Let's I'm gonna tell him, and then let's just go for lunch." And then we went one day, and you kind of rolled out the red carpet for us, and we all ate it. And it was like 4 or 5 of us.
Well, he was the host and the chef and the cook and the waiter.
Exactly.
And he was doing everything.
He was the host. He was the chef. He
showing
was the
business plan.
Exactly. And it was like that was exactly it, bro. We obviously we're trying the food and stuff. And chef's kiss, bro. Your ceviche is incredible. Your food overall, even like Evan was saying, your empanadas, all your food, not just the ceviche, all the food's amazing, dude.
Thank you.
But you did all those things just like you were talking about. And then like when we left, like I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me. Like when we were driving, I was like, not just that, but like he's handling all aspects of his business. Like, and I think there's a little golden nugget there in that, like, you learned all the different aspects of your business. Like some people would love to just be the chef, or some people would love to just be the boss, right? But you're willing to, dig in and get in the trenches and fill all those roles. You learn those roles. And so as you hire and as you manage a team, like you have more respect for those different roles, which they're all just as necessary to run a business, especially a restaurant, right?
Yeah, I was forced to do it. Like I said, we started with 3 people, and then we get to the point that I have 16 people. I mean, it's always, I don't see my restaurant. It's not because I'm ambitious, but I don't see Ande's Cafe to be like kind of corporate, like those huge restaurants like have 4,000 or 5,000 square foot. I mean, it's just always
you like the compact kind of.
Well, it's a mom and pop shop.
Yeah,
right.
Is.
And also, I mean, like you said, that kind of goes along with what you've wanted to do. You're like, I want my own restaurant where it's my specialty. And I mean, I don't know. Do you really see yourself being like a Papa's food chain, or
no.
And that goes alongside with what your goal is for?
Also, it goes back to where you first started, dude. Your grandma cooking in the kitchen, bro, and you sitting there.
You're trying to put yourself in the oven.
You're trying to, you know what I'm saying? I say mom and pop shop, but like that's with the utmost respect. Like you got a family owned business. Like your business helps support your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my brother is actually my mom and my dad actually, and they're working in the restaurant now.
Yeah,
and they're like. My mom's 62 years old, and she's running, she's killing it.
She's a sweetheart, though, bro.
I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she does it, but, she's just doing it perfect fine.
Go.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, kind of the same way how you're still trucking along. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't think anyone has it all figured out 100% of the way. I just think it's more of kind of like a stumble forward until you just figure it out.
Yeah.
And it might not always be the way, you might not learn the way you think you're going to learn it. But you learn sometimes through experience with other interactions.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy too. Like you're talking about your mom in there. Like when we were out there in Ecuador, your mom cooked the meal for us and everything, and it was incredible, dude. And like it's like if you think about it, like food, and like you were talking about, y'all used to have like the festive dinners and like a whole bunch of food and stuff. You think about food as one of the things that knows no cultural boundaries. Like every culture celebrates food, and kind of holds it as a like a form of gathering. Like it knows no cultural boundaries. Yeah, it changes between cultures, but everybody has to eat, right? And in business, they talk about like food, shelter, and I forget the other one. There's like these key things. Everyone has to have food. Everyone has to have shelter. Like so, it's a good industry to be in.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's always about location, and of course you can make good money if you have a good product, but it's always also my struggle, my everyday struggle is like I'm different though. When you're different.
I understand, man. Sometimes you got to carve your own lane out.
Yeah, it's just for example, like if you put my ceviche, right, which is like if you travel and you had ceviche before. And you put a taco, pizza, burger, and ceviche. Ceviche is the last thing people will eat. It's just not because it's the worst. It's just because people don't know about it.
Well, and also I think ceviche is it's an elegant food. It's not something like, I mean, if you put that's like putting it in front of like an 18-year-old kid who's hungry, and you're like, which one do you want, pizza, burger, tacos, or ceviche? He's like, pizza. Tacos, not because
I
of
would take ceviche.
but honestly, that's because after you eat ceviche, you're gonna feel clean, you're gonna feel good, you're gonna feel healthy, you're gonna feel light on your feet. After you eat that pizza, you feel like, oh, I'm so full. But in reality, the ceviche is gonna be better for you mentally.
But you've got other good dishes too, bro. Like that steak dish. The one with the it's the beef and then the rice.
Just to give an example, so when we first started at the Pulse, we have I thought it wouldn't work the same way. Like it works like 5 minutes away from the Pulse, right? My name was straight up Spanish. all right? But I didn't realize there was just one unique spot. It was a destination spot. So if you want to try South American food, you got to go to Andes Cafe, right? Now, if you go inside the Pulse, there's a different diversity of people that drives to go inside the Pulse. So when I first opened, you know, my names were in Spanish, you know, like, for example, like churrasco al plato, right? And then it's like, oh, skirt steak, blah, 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 with french fries and salad and chimichurri, right? It didn't work out. So all I have to do is just put it in English first. And then I have to do that, you know, in Spanish.
Well, I like your idea with that. Let me ask you this. Do you have a dish called the King Ceviche?
No.
Well, maybe this. I think we found the source of the issue here.
No. But I mean, and then you got a shrimp dish too that has like.
So I have to put in curry, and it works, but it has nothing to do with curry. It's just. You just have to play with it.
It's like you said, the audience at Post is very diverse. You have all different kinds of people coming in there, so you have to basically translate it into something that is understandable to your consumer.
Yes,
which is
pictures and
right,
like
exactly.
the writing. You know, like they actually just the fact just where the dish is located. You know, like if you put something with seafood first, I don't think people will catch the eye because when you look at something, it's just like 10 seconds. It's like gonna be like a good.
And also, most people, whenever they look try to see the whole thing to see what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, if it's like you have it with, you know, the highest seafood and then it goes down. I mean, it might even be smart to put like the cheaper protein first and then go.
Well, I think that's what he's saying is you got to put, you can't, like, people commonly people go with what they know. Right? Like people are comfortable with being comfortable. So you have to put the stuff that people recognize towards the top, right? Yeah. And then once you've kind of got their attention, then they'll start to. Yeah.
But switching just the name it works tremendously. And I was so against of it. You know, I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But I ended up doing it, and it worked out. You know.
Yeah.
So now I put a second fries. Like, okay, you know.
Yep.
I mean,
it's the same dish. You just had to change the name to steak and fries.
Yes.
And now people get it. It's like probably one of your most popular dishes, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What sort of, do you have any sort of big plans for the future?
Well, I'm looking to see if I can just probably go. I miss my brick and mortar restaurant. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know, because we used to do like tango nights. We used to do like Saturday nights. We used to have like a folklore night, and then this restaurant was packed and like, you know, and I can close it whenever I want. If it's dead, whatever, take at least one day off every once, you know. Now I'm like, But I mean, I like the Pulse. It's just, don't get me wrong. It's just definitely I miss my brick and mortar.
I think you do both, bro.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
exactly.
if you look at it like Chopping Block, for example, they're about to open a brick and mortar store. They're going to keep their location there at Post, but they're opening a brick and mortar store out in Montrose. I think that's the key, right? Like you have this outlet at Post, and you have this mass audience. You know, tens of thousands of people come a week. Yeah. Like you keep your kind of your post at Post, your outpost at Post, and then you have your brick and mortar store, and you can use them to feed each other, right? Like people can get introduced to Andes at Post, and then you can kind of have your flagship store at a brick and mortar store of your location, which you have a little more control of hours. You can do these program nights, and you have more space. I think that's kind of the route to take, bro.
Yeah, I would love to come back to East Downtown, because when I first opened in East Downtown, actually my restaurant at the beginning I thought it was like this very political, because it was a lot of people they were in politics. You know, they actually helped me out to stand. Because you have to think about it, like, who would have told, like, me, this guy from South America is just opening something in East Downtown, when East Downtown
is booming.
2013, no.
It is now, I'm saying.
It is now. But think about 2013, it was nothing. It was Mexican, Tex-Mex, that's it.
Yep.
And I was the first chef that moved into this area, like without nothing about East Downtown. I know it was called Second War. It was Mexican, and like I said, a lot of Mexican American community here. And at the beginning, like, you know, South American food, what the hell is this, you know? But I have very few people, very important people like Yolanda Navarro. She just passed away, well, a couple years ago. Lolita Guerrero, the president of East Chambers. Francis Castañeda, they helped me out tremendously, though.
So there's a lot of support from the city that kept you.
Yes. Actually, they named October.
We're in October.
Yeah, I want to say 5th or 15th. I think I have to actually investigate that, but it was the city of Houston named Dave under Andy's Cafe.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Sylvia
huge.
Sylvia Garcia.
Sylvia Garcia. She also gave me some sort of I forgot some stuff.
A proclamation. A proclamation. A date.
proclamation,
Yeah. That's nothing to shy. Like that. That's huge.
No,
bro.
it
That's
is-
huge.
It is big, but it's just like I have so many. I don't know if you remember my old story. I have like 20-something plaques.
Yeah.
With like
All your accolades.
like from the press release and stuff like that, but now these days it doesn't turn into to money. Like I believe we underrated. We should just have more more customers. Because of how many years we're in business. But I know this business is very very difficult because if you just don't pay attention, like
Right.
I would lie if I say, oh, I've been on top of my restaurant like the 10 years. I think I would be a different.
Well, I mean, it comes in waves. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're super focused on it. Other times, you have to step away to go. Take care of whatever you have to take care of in your own personal life.
Yeah.
I mean, but let's. I mean, we've been talking about a lot of the difficulties and stuff too. But let's be real. You're a pretty successful restaurant,
of
bro.
course.
Like, let me ask you this: what's your favorite thing about being a restaurant owner or business owner or being a chef? What's your favorite? Let's talk about the good.
The good thing is, like, I love to give jobs to my guys.
There you go.
It's amazing, because you just create this boundary between, and I have to hear so many stories about people, like wild stories, and very touchy stories, and you became part of it. I remember, like, especially a couple years ago, like, when this huge wave of Venezuelans started immigrating to the United States, there was people that have nothing though, and they come into my restaurant and bike, and then months later they were having their own car. So it was very satisfying for me.
beautiful.
That is a good feeling to help people. That helps people around you get up.
Right.
And for me, like, trust me, I mean, like, sometimes you put in there yourself, but you just make sure they have work and they have jobs and they have their paycheck and stuff like that. So
Well, and also just to be on that. I mean, you even said you were your own biggest critic, right?
Yeah.
You've kicked a lot of butt in your industry, but also I think that just goes to be, we always feel like as men we can do better or we can do more, or we should have done more, and I feel like that's okay. But we also have to be able to appreciate the good with the bad because you can't have one without the other.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you see plenty of gratification whenever someone comes in and they eat your food for the first time and they love it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, describe the feeling whenever someone just discovers Andy's Cafe and they talk about how much they love it. I mean, doesn't that feel
that's
good?
the best feeling. My first restaurant, actually, I have to the first 2 months it was I have to bring some guys and put a little hole through the wall so I can see their faces. So that's the best satisfaction for customers. So it cost me a lot, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you because, like I said, starting off in the second war when everything was just nothing but Mexican Tex-Mex, surviving that thing, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
But, I knew people when they tried, like, oh my God, this is something different and it was so delicious, So they started coming in.
Right.
I was actually, pretty much, I remember a long time ago, I looked at my first menu.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God! It was pretty.
From where you've come from then to now.
It was almost like charity though. Like, I have stuff for $3.
Crazy.
Right.
So because I had to start with something new, like like for example, black clams. No one like it. No one knows about
likes what?
Black clams.
Black clams.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the ceviche, right?
Yeah.
That will happen on the old location. One day I just get pissed off. I said, I want to buy 1,000 black clams. Any person walking into that door, we just give them one and try it. They love it. So after that, it's like we always short on black clams, But because we have very unique and different items, for some people this sounds weird, and when it's weird or different, they don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and also there's people around here that have a standard issue palate where they just want kolaches, Whataburger, and then Whataburger for dinner again, and But I mean, you know, it's that uniqueness that that really keeps the city going around here.
Yes.
You know, and yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Everything that you've been doing. I mean, the ups, the downs. I mean, it's all part of the American dream. It's all part of the beauty of the story. It's all part of this life. It's whatever you want to make it. You know, it's just how bad do you want it?
So if you could go back in time and talk to the younger version of you, what is some advice you would give yourself?
Listen to your mom.
Damn, that's real. Hey, that's good advice.
I'm gonna write this one down.
You know, your mom is never wrong though. You know, whatever she sees on you, whatever wrong she sees on you, is just I would change it. I would change it on the just like that though. You know.
You know, it's funny. I try to think about that also about listening to your parents more, because it's like they were around. They saw you whenever you didn't even have consciousness. You know, you're running around 5 years old and, you know, throwing drinks on the ground, and they're just like, cut it out. You know, they see you from every different direction, when in reality, most of the time we're like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I don't need no help from you. And then it's like, well, your mom was going to have your best interest over anybody.
I think that's pretty common, though. Like, even, like, for me, as I've gotten older, I've started to ask my mom's advice way more. And I've started to listen. But, like, when I was younger, like, I didn't want to hear it. It came from my mom and my dad or whatever. What do y'all know? Y'all are old. Like, but as we get older, I think we start to realize the different things they tried to teach
us. And whatever thing they tell us that's gonna happen, it happens.
It happens.
You just get mad at them,
fuck.
you know. You just say, you start blaming on them, like, oh, because you cursed me. You know? But it's not.
It's only because you said it and you put the energy out there, Mom. Like, it wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
It's because they've lived the life. Like, you know what I mean? They've been down this path. Like, we forget that they were our age one time. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I find myself calling my mom all the time now and just telling her about something that's going on and just trying to hear what she has to say.
I have a 17-year-old son.
Yeah.
His name is Joshua. So he just turned 17 like 3 days ago. And I tell him, like, and I say, I give him advice. And I said, right after that, I said, if you don't listen to me, it's going to happen because my mom used to. I never listened to my mom.
And it happened as a byproduct.
Yeah, yes. I'm very happy that and blessed that he's very, very behaved. He's good.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's different from me, you know. I'm lucky.
So
go. I was gonna ask, so if people are trying to find you on social media, how do they find you?
And it's Cafe Houston on Instagram and it's Cafe Houston Facebook. Yeah. And that's all I know. I think we have all.
You have a TikTok too. It's Andy's Cafe.
Yeah, it's Cafe Houston.
Yeah, man. We want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
and
guys,
stuff.
I appreciate it. It was amazing.
Nah, you kicked butt today, bro. I mean, it was wonderful to hear all your story about all these different restaurants getting crowned Ceviche King, and you know, I mean, all that stuff, man. It's an excellent story, man. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, guys. Absolutely, appreciate that.
Man. Hey, and y'all stop by the market November 11th. Come check out his new venture. The kind of Ecuadorian and South American jewelry.
It's called Tawan Jeweler. No, Tawan Jewels. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And
Tawan.
then stop by Andy's Cafe, get some food. The steak and fries is delicious, but I recommend the ceviche for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, cool. See y'all next time.
H-Town Happy Hour, we out.
Great work, bro. Great work today, man.
That's good.
Oh, 100%.
That was great. That was right at an hour or two.
That was right on the money.
Trey the Truth called me twice.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. No.
You did.
Now, see, it just flies by, man.